Welcome to the Top Cap podcast with your hosts Nick and Rahil. Here's what's coming up on this episode. I mean, this is a question really, isn't it? I mean, I only sort of, when I started driving, there was hardly any motorway closures. Funnily enough, my first car spent most of its time in the very area we're in now. So I didn't really experience a lot of the motorway issues on the M25 because I always used to take the back roads home, right?
Fair.
But the more I travel, the more I go up and down the country, the more I'm using certain motorways that I've never used before, the more I'm realising, and especially going abroad, which you're going to talk about later, I'm realising that our roads are shit here, man.
I told you this, man.
Go on, tell your view on it. Say your view on it.
My view is, obviously, depending on the state of the council and the type of people that live there, I feel like above a certain salary, if the average of that area is above a certain salary, the roads are nice. The roads are like pothole free, like it's just taken care of. But I think that dwells into a whole different topic. But like in terms of even finances, I recently heard, right, so like our council, Slough Council, right, they use this finance software called Aggresso. Historically it was called Aggresso, now it's called Unit 4. In my most recent employment, we use this, right?
You actually used
so,
Unit 4?
Yeah, Unit 4.
What is Unit 4, by the way?
So it's just like a business tool or software that, you can raise purchase orders, invoices, payments, etc. To be honest, right, so from what I was reading, that Aggresso have basically put forth to the council basically that they want to renew the contract. It's going to cost them 75k in total, let's say including integrating it, installing it, licensing, etc. Slough Council have budgeted about 2 million for the next 5 years.
Wow.
The problem here is that in the council's defence, right, the people who actually use it, so the front office staff who actually use the system, they've said that the tool itself isn't really used to its full capacity. And I kind of hear it. Like where I've used it, I kind of had the same feeling that where I was working, they weren't exactly using it to its full potential. Like I would try, I don't know, pull a report out, and it just doesn't do the thing. So the council are a bit of in a situation where, unfortunately, they've said that they don't really have the time to find an alternative supplier. But really, like, are you really going to pay 75k just to move to the same type of software that isn't really going to do what it needs to do again? I would say it's not really fit for purpose. The council broke.
As we all know.
Yeah, we broke. We broke. We're trying to help out, but it's hard. Being broke means everyone's got to fork in money, and the cost of living isn't exactly helping the situation.
Yeah, I think the hard part with that is like what you just said about finding a new supplier for the council. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to do any work with the council before, but normally how it works is you send a bid in through their tendering portal, and any company's open, as long as you're of a certain size, you can supply that software to the council, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that the bidding stages, once they're done, you pretty much have all the information you need regarding that software and those providers. So if the council turn around and say, oh, we haven't really got time to look for a new supplier, well, you have all the information available because all of the bids that were submitted
But they got till this December. That's the deadline.
When did they, do you know when they actually accepted the bid?
Who, Aggressor? So this is I think it's like a renewal, you could say. I wouldn't say it's a brand new bid. It's something that they've been using. Where they have been using it, there've been a lot of complaints about it, and nothing's really been done. Like I don't think there's any improvements, but maybe potentially compared to the legacy system they're using, it is now. But to be honest, from what I've used, it was pretty pants.
And you've got quite a lot of experience in. Well, I say quite a lot. I won't big you up that much. Keep it humble, right? Yeah. But you've got experience in sort of data migration, data integration, that kind of thing. Right?
Not a lot. I can't lie. It's definitely not a lot.
How difficult would you say, based on your limited experience, it is to?
It takes a lot of resources. It definitely will take resources. It will definitely cost money. Both those factors will equally affect quality. From my experience, where we did I supported, I should say, a D365 integration.
Sounds like bloody Star Wars to me right now. I swear, R2D2.
So it's like a Dynamics 365, basically a Microsoft version, right? Does the same thing as what Aggressor really does. But to be honest, that was like a lot better from my experience. However, it was newly installed, so it could mean that obviously bugs are later to be found out, not there and then. But yeah, man, it's a bit of a pickle. Like £2 million in the next 5 years. All I hear that is going to be costing us. But then what alternative solution do they have? Like just get rid of it and just accept checks again?
Well, this is my next question for you, right? Is that were there any systems that you may have come across? Because in my mind, when you say these kind of systems, I'm thinking of something like Salesforce, something that's
Okay,
very
yeah.
basic, right? Do you reckon there are alternatives out there in terms of systems?
There are,
Okay.
but it takes time, and this is what I don't feel the council feel like they have at the moment is time. They've got till to December to renew it. Maybe they could pull it out of the hat. Maybe they can't. I don't know. I don't work there, but you know, all I hear from that is, oh, they ain't got the money to do it. They're gonna find the money from somewhere to do it, and like we're just
Hoping and wishing.
yeah, money
Yeah,
trees,
yeah.
walking money
Yeah,
trees
yeah.
to them, you know.
Wherever these money trees are in
Yeah.
Slough, yeah, someone tell me, innit? Because I'm going to go dig them out the ground for
Yeah.
myself, right? But if there's any like senior DevOps guys, would you say that it'd be worth them reaching out to the council and maybe getting in touch and saying, look, maybe I can help you guys out? Because is it DevOps? Is DevOps would be, or is that maybe you need a front end engineer and a back end engineer? How would it work?
It kind of works all sorts of ways in terms of holistically, but all I know is just it's going to cost money.
Yeah.
And even to get the resources to do said items, like you said, yeah, they're not cheap. Like especially on a contractor salary, they're not going to be cheap. On a permanent basis, you're not going to have someone there to monitor it the entire time. You might have a support team or a care team that look after it, but even those people, you know, you'd employ on a permanent basis. You don't need the person to constantly be migrating data when it's doing it itself after. So, you know, that's how it works. Contractors cost a lot of money. The council had a lot of money. They spent it somewhere. And now they're trying to just sell anything and everything. Like I heard they're also trying to sell the curve. I heard a rumor that they were trying to get rid of the curve.
See, I heard a different rumor. So
What?
I heard that they built the curve as a way to, obviously every council has a budget, and if they don't use the entire of their budget, they lose what they haven't spent the next year. Right, that's how budgets work. So I heard that the curve was the Slough Council's attempt to basically use all of their budget up. Then following that build, they realised that they didn't need it, and now they were talking about either selling it. And this is what I've heard now. I've heard that they're thinking of reducing the amount of hours that it's open.
Oh, mad.
So we're hearing different rumours. Who told you what you know?
I think I saw it somewhere online, but like in terms of the curve, so I know like some public sectors, what they do is they'll be allocated a budget, and I think it's very crafty of them, right? They'll be allocated a budget, and to get more money, right? They like dribs and drabs, right? They will overspend, like every said time, every year or every end of the financial year, and what they try to do, they justify that they need more money, right? And then they get more money because they're like, oh right, you've spent tiny bit more than what you did last time. Cool, we'll budget you a bit more, and then plus contingency. So even with that, like if they're trying to say that, oh, you know, like you said, they needed money to spend, because they need to justify why they need the extra money.
Yeah.
You know, like if they had money left over, the next time they apply for a budget, they're gonna say, well, you didn't spend it all.
So
you don't need
that.
it all.
Yeah.
You know, like you're doing fine without it. Why do you need it all of a sudden? So they've gone, but then again, like it's the new library. Like the old library was just there. It wasn't really doing much.
Shout
it was
out.
a bit nostalgic.
Listen to me. Shout out to that old library, yeah, because a lot of things were done in that old library, and studying wasn't one of them. Yeah, and we'll leave that there. Yeah, we'll leave that there. But yeah, shout out to the old library, man. The new curve though, definitely. Like I think I knew through someone who knows someone that I know, the actual architect who designed it. I think it was. I think her mum's name is Suki, right? But it's a woman who designed it anyway. So shout out to her, right? But it was like it got a lot of awards for architecture. You know, it was meant to be a main attraction of Slough. It was meant to basically rejuvenate the old Slough Library and make it something completely new for a new generation. And to hear now that they're going to reduce the hours to save costs, again, it just seems like there's a lot of expenditure that was unnecessary that maybe they just needed to justify.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit wild. But there's a lot of sort of developments happening in Slough at the moment.
So yeah, even there, right, they're trying to open a McDonald's drive-through. So what I've heard is that McDonald's did a site survey to say that they can justify a drive-through without affecting traffic flow. Now the council have turned around and said, well, really, you've done the site survey incorrectly. You haven't considered peak hours. So peak hours could range from like working hours, school time hours. Don't forget, it is next to the M4 as well, right? So it's a lot of travel.
Great location.
Yeah, I hear that. But
that's a great location.
But traffic flow in Slough is already like tough as it is. The unnecessary bus lane, which is supposedly necessary, you know, all this extras that we don't really need that aren't really doing any help to anyone. Basically, yeah. So the site survey conducted by McDonald's was, we've done it accurately. Council have said no. now they're in a bit of a standoff where, how do McDonald's do this? Now, whether McDonald's still want to open there or not is a different question, but I don't know. I'm done with all these like takeaways and Slough. I need like a proper place to eat in, like no more chicken shops,
Like a
or
restaurant.
tea places. Like
Yeah.
everyone magically forgot how to make tea at home. I don't even drink tea, but there's tea places.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. They're doing well. They found a niche in the market and it's killed. They're doing their thing right. Hats off to you guys. But as a consumer who doesn't drink tea, fine, fair enough. I'm gonna have my own opinion. But it's also like just the following of chicken places, chicken shops.
Do you know what it is? Yeah, look, I feel like as much as I agree with you on this, like I love myself like a grilled chicken place, like a Nando's.
Yeah, but how much of it can you eat?
No, but this is it, yeah. We once upon a time when we first discussed setting up this podcast, right, and people are going to see this now, right, that we're looking to interview like small business owners, etc., etc. One of the people that you were adamant on speaking to was the owner of Chicken Delight, right?
Yeah.
Now, for me, that formula of fried chicken shop, that sort of South London formula, fried chicken, Dixie's, blah blah blah, right? That is something that is like integral within Slough, bro. Like, how many times not you, but there's someone, I can't remember who it is, who always gets a chicken D's before like a holiday, or is it you?
Nah,
when you come back,
definitely not me.
Someone does it, right? That I know, like when they come back from a holiday, they'll get a chicken D's, for example. Those shops, I don't think there's a single person in Slough that hasn't been to one of those shops, right? And remember, the fried chicken industry, bro, it's like a £9 million or more industry in the UK. It's a massive market. So for us to want to get rid of the fried places and go to the grilled places, as nice as it would be, is it doable? Is the question.
I hear that, but for me, it's more like just come out with a different cuisine, man. Like, come on, like how much more grilled chicken can there be?
Yeah.
The bougiest chicken shop you could probably get in Slough is Nando's or something.
Yeah, but you've also got the Lebanese restaurants. You got Lebanese restaurants in Slough. We got steak out in Slough. We used to have Smokies. Smokies was decent.
Fine, I'll just turn fat.
Yeah.
I'll just be obese.
Cool. No, stop.
Someone's probably there saying, "Oh, you can make food at home." I can make food at home, but it's still like
but I choose not to.
If I want to go out and eat somewhere nice, why do I always have to leave the area?
Yeah.
Why do I always have to leave the area? All right, you got your like. I don't do shisha either, but you got like Akai Lounge and all these other places.
Yeah, it's like 5 shisha places in Slough, man, and none of them are ever packed as well. Have you noticed that? Like back in the days, they used to be packed. Yeah, if it was at the back of a building under a disgusting marquee, it would be packed.
A shed, you mean?
Yeah, literally a shed, bro. Yeah,
that's disgusting.
It would be packed. Yeah, with the same faces going there day in day out. Now, bro, I pretty much use them spots for free parking at this point. You know what I mean? So yeah, maybe you're right, man. Maybe it's time to step away from the unhealthy stuff and move towards a healthier direction, man. Maybe you could open it. Rahil's Bites.
Fuck that, man. I'll just end up eating all my food.
Eating your own supply.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it, man. Shout out to Berkshire Bagels though. I have to give a shout out to them because they've opened up.
After us, yeah.
They have looked after us massively. I go there pretty much every week, and the people who work in there are fantastic people. The food is healthy. It's fresh every day. It's a healthier alternative to things like Rahil was saying, the fried chicken shops, etc., etc. And it will fill you up. Like you can eat it, you won't be hungry for at least half the day. So yeah, shout out to Berkshire Bagels. Hopefully we'll get them in because of the free promo I've just given them. But yeah. Anyway, moving on, man. I think you wanted to mention something about something that happened in Slough High Street recently.
The High Street fire above the flats.
When did this happen? Like a few weeks back?
Yeah, it's happened. I think it's been about 2.5 weeks now, or maybe 3. So the High Street fire, man, like that's a shame. Like a lot of people had to evacuate the building, their homes burnt to a crisp. I don't think anyone was hurt, luckily enough. God bless. But that's mad. Like, so it's come out to say that the same cladding that was used in Grenfell is used there.
No way.
And the council were aware of it.
No way.
Yeah, man. That's quite disappointing, if I'm being honest with you, because, like, you learn from historical mistakes, and if you're not, you're doomed to repeat them, basically.
If that isn't a mistake to learn from.
Yeah, that's brave. I give the council that as brave, but there's going to be a lot of scrutiny now, especially around other, like, slightly older flats in Slough or the buildings itself. Like, the question is, how they're going to do it. They broke.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So how do they think they're going to find, like, fixes? What would you, like, suggest in terms of solution?
For me, it's hard because this issue of cladding, which I'm going to get onto, is something that is very, like, I take it very personally, and I'll obviously explain why. But with regards to those apartments, I think the solution is going to be very difficult because those flats were sold. So that those flats are privately owned, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. Those flats were sold to these people, these landlords, at a discounted price because of things like the cladding, because of I'm not going to say lower regulations, but it was basically you got the cheaper alternative to something that will pass regulations, right? If I was a landlord and I'd paid, millions for that building or a million or whatever it is, if the council then turn around to me and say, you have to change that cladding, I'd turn around to the council and say, hold on a second, I wouldn't have bought this building at the discounted price because if I knew that later on I'd have to change the cladding. So I can understand it from a landlord's perspective. However, what I would also say to the landlords is that you've got human beings living in your building. You've got children living in your building. It's great being a landlord. I don't get it. I will one day, hopefully. But it's great being a landlord and collecting rent and getting paid for not doing anything, right? I get it. You got to maintain the property. It's hard, right? You're a landlord. I get it, right? However, you got to remember, right? You've got a responsibility to your tenants. You have to make sure they're in a safe building. And even if it costs you in the short term to get rid of that cladding, right? Do it. Because what I'd rather have is a big bill to remove that cladding as opposed to, God forbid, dead children, dead women, dead people in my building. Yeah, because that's not good for your portfolio. So for any landlords out there, right, don't chase the bag. Yeah, be a safe landlord. Look after your tenants, and they will be with you forever. All right, that's my advice. But in terms of the cladding now, right, the reason why I take that so personally, when Grenfell happened, I was a university student, right, and I used to hang around in West London a lot. I'm not from London, so this was all new to me, right. I was on Uxbridge Road in Shepherd's Bush. That's where we used to chill in and around the area, around Ladbroke Grove, etc. Right? I saw the smoke coming out of the building when Grenfell happened. I was there in the first 48 hours. I was one of the first responders. It was me and two of my mates, shout out to them, who one of them had a pickup truck, and we were in the back of that Mitsubishi throwing bags of clothes for the people that didn't have homes anymore, right? To see, and even like things like seeing the smoke coming out the building 48 hours after the incident, knowing that there's people in there still that haven't been identified, we're never going to know who they are. And even to this day, you drive through London, you'll see it. That tower is still there. And guess what? Those people are still in there. They still ain't been found. They still ain't been confirmed like this person is dead now, right? If that isn't a lesson as to like what happens when you cut corners, if that ain't a lesson, like, I don't know what we need to do. Like, it's still there. Anyone who drives into London, they can see it. Yeah, the Green Heart and the Grenfell. Like, let's not as a society allow that to just be a memorial for a mistake we made. Let's learn from it. You get what I mean? Like, that's what it means for me to be.
Do you reckon it was a situation where the landlord was like, it won't happen to me.
Absolutely.
It won't happen to me.
Absolutely.
I'll be alright.
Absolutely.
It's not going to happen to me.
Look, I know what it's like, to be in a game where cost saving is the measure. Like, I understand that, right? But the hard thing is, like, again, when you're responsible for the dwelling spaces of people, bro, like, kids grow up in that building. There's probably marks on the thing of how tall they've gotten over the years. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's things like that, bro. Like, they're not looking at it like, is this building safe? But they're looking like, this is my home, right? And a home should always be safe for people. Like, it doesn't matter that you're renting it. It doesn't matter if you own it. A home should be safe, innit? So, again, man, like, these landlords, I would recommend to them that they fix up very sharpish, get that cladding removed. If not, then the government needs to come out with something. If they were able to ban asbestos, why can't they ban this plastic cladding?
I don't know, man. I don't really have the answer for that, but yeah, that's a bit of a crazy situation. I'm hoping that other like landlords now like reflect and review that maybe we should get it changed. If they have it, you know what I mean? You'd rather resolve the problem before it's a problem.
The problem is, right, I think that this is already a problem, right? The reason why I think it's already a problem is because we just had the Grenfell inquiry, right? Which took years, by the way. Yeah. That inquiry took years, but there's a show, right? I don't know if you remember, the Scottish guy who used to play Doctor Who? Do you remember him?
No, I never watched Doctor Who.
So there's a Scottish guy. I can't remember his name, but I'll find it. Right, he used to play Doctor Who, and he did a political comedy show. Right, okay. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll try and find the name for you. Yeah, in that political comedy show, he basically said that if it goes to an inquiry, you've pretty much gotten away with it, right? Because The problem with an inquiry is when you investigate a government, and
Yeah.
this is happening in other places of the world, right? Which I think we all know there's a conflict going on there. Once you do an inquiry, because there's so many people involved in the decision-making process, it's hard to pinpoint the decision maker,
Yeah.
right? I can't create the trail going all the way back to the Prime Minister at the time and say he was the one that was responsible for this. I can't go to the Home Secretary and say that person was responsible for it. So as great as this inquiry was, and I'm sure it's going to produce results, and I'm sure people are going to change their attitudes towards cost-saving measures when it comes to apartment buildings and houses, there's no one being held accountable, man. And if there's no head on the chopping block, unfortunately, landlords, they're looking to save as much money and make as much money as they can, which is fair. Like, you know, we're in a capitalist society. That's how it should be.
But not at the cost of lives.
But not at the cost of lives, man. That's the key thing. That's the key thing. It'd be interesting. I'd love to speak to maybe a few landlords who have got the cladding and maybe understand some of the issues that they're facing, you know, because they might say, look, we'd love to get it removed, but we simply can't afford it. You know, people aren't renting at the moment because of the cost of everything, you know, and that's a whole other topic. But yeah, I'm sure there's some hurdles in the way, man. I'm sure it's not as easy as let me just get the old chisel and hammer out and start knocking the cladding off. But yeah, moving on though, talking about living conditions for people, I think it's right that we talk about something that's affecting maybe the more discreet people in our society, maybe the people that we don't notice on a day-to-day.
Like what? Like who?
The elderly.
Okay.
So winter fuel payments, there's going to be a massive cut to them.
What's winter fuel payment?
So winter fuel payments are essentially a payment that is given to a pensioner because they don't have an income, yet they have outgoings, and it's the government's way of supporting their pension.
Okay.
Right, now before you'd get probably about £300, £400, but over the years we've seen massive cuts to the winter fuel payments. You know, I'm sure you've seen it on BBC News, etc., where, you know, there's been people getting really, really angry with the fact that you've got old people in houses and they can't afford to turn their heating on. And it's sad because unfortunately these old people, you know, I'm not going to say the word, but let's call it unalive, right? They'll be unalived, right? Because of the fact they ain't got no heating in the house, and because it's cold, because no one's going outside, no one's checking on.
Unalived.
You can't say certain words on certain platforms, right? Okay. So I'm gonna say the alternative word, which is unalived. I'm not trying to be like smart. I'm just trying to no. So it's a shame because these old people now, they're getting a further cut to their winter fuel payments, right? I read an article online. It suggested that 11,000 pensioners in Slough alone, 11,000 pensioners are going to be negatively impacted by this. In my mind, that raises alarms because what if even if 1% of that 11,000 is badly impacted by the winter fuel cuts, that could result in a massive loss of life, right? I get it. I understand, right? The government's in a bad place right now. We're still recovering post-COVID. But when is this going to stop, man? Like, there's money to be made out there for the government, right? I'm not going to say it's as simple as taxing the rich because it's not, right? But there are ways to do it.
Give an example. Everyone can say there's ways for them to do it. There's choices. So but they're the people who are sitting there saying we don't have really much option to do anything besides install bus lanes and stuff.
How much did we send in foreign aid last year?
I don't know.
How much did we send to Ukraine last year?
Oh, flipping hell.
I'm not saying if it's a just war or not. I'm not debating that, right? For whoever's lost any loss of life in the world because of war is ridiculous, right? In this day and age, when we can talk everything out, you've got the leverage of placing sanctions on countries. There's no need to go to war, right? And obviously that whole situation there in Europe is its own kettle of fish. Like, there's a whole reason as to why that's going on, right? But my problem with that and other sort of instances that are happening around the world, we are sending billions. We're not sending millions. We're not sending a couple 100,000. We are sending billions to these countries. Is it 1 billion? Now, 1 billion is a lot of money, right?
Fair.
Is it only 1 billion we're sending? No. We're sending 10 times that, right? To go fund these wars. We are selling weapons and ammunition to these countries to, again, fuel the war. Now, I get it. Right? If you're producing something in a country, you have the right to sell it, you have the right to make money of it. However, there's foreign aid that doesn't need to go there. There's numbers. When we started at a certain number with foreign aid, that number increased. Then Zelensky came here and then it increased again.
Yeah.
What if we took 1% of that and gave that to our pensioners?
Yeah, I guess it'd help, but it's not really us to make the decision. But I hear that. That could be a solution where we stop. Because then now you're really saying is that you want to stop helping, and in your words, one group of, or help less one group of unalive people to help your own unalive people.
Well, at this point, I'm trying to protect people from it going that way.
Going there.
To that direction where they're no longer enjoying the perks of oxygen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm coming from I can't believe that these words are coming out of my mouth.
Go on.
But it's a Britain first mentality. Like, we need to worry about our people, the people that live here. And by the way, I'm not talking about a certain colour of people. I'm talking about people that hold the passport that we hold, right?
Oh, yeah.
I've got the passport. You've got the passport. There's other people around here. Yeah, well, there you go, right? There's it doesn't matter what colour you are, right? It doesn't matter what race you are, what country you came from. Yeah, but if you've got that passport, you're British. Yeah, that's how I see it, right? My thing is, why are we not putting our people first? When our elderly who built the country that we're living in, that created the circumstances that allowed us to be comfortable, also they created the inflation rate as well, and the reason why the property prices are so high, which I don't rate, yeah? But again, why are we not putting our people first, right? Taking care of our own, and they've got the same problem in America right now, right? You've got homelessness, which is at the highest point it's ever been. You've got unemployment, which is rife in America at the moment, right? Why are we not putting this country first and saying, right, let's get rid of all of this foreign intervention. Let's not support none of this. Let's just sort our people out. Let's sort our wages out. Let's sort our cost of living out. Let's sort our rent prices out, our house prices out, our food prices out. I could go on and on and on and on. Let's help the farmers. Yeah, shout out to the farmers, by the way, because they're the backbone of this country. And some of them are even getting paid to not farm.
The next thing I'm going to tell you is unreal, because now we've been offered £2,500 to join a scheme for 3 years. We don't supply you any food. I am going to plough a field. I'm going to put spring barley in. I'm going to get £440 off the government per acre. Okay? That when it comes to crop size, leave it rot in the ground. Now my accountant says do it, because in doing that I've not got to buy fertiliser, which since the Ukraine war it's gone from £250 an acre to £1,000 a tonne.
I want you to imagine that.
You get paid not to farm.
The government are paying them to not farm. They're saying, I know you can make this much, but we're going to pay you this to not produce that because we import it from another country. What is that about?
Maybe it's just based on relationships they want to maintain with other countries. But to be fair, man, I don't know. That whole situation always confuses me, because sometimes I feel like the UK kind of shoots itself in the foot over and over again, and now they're going to have feet to walk on.
That's a good statement. That's a really good
like,
statement.
Honestly,
actually.
like, you shot all your toes off. Like, what are you going to walk on now, innit?
Well, some people are saying that, obviously, look, we experienced Brexit and that whole vote and everything that happened. Some people are saying now that Keir Starmer's pushing to get back involved with the EU. We lost a lot of trade, man. Listen, we lost a lot of trade with the EU. Let's not forget this.
You know what this sounds like, This sounds like the UK went through a breakup.
Yeah. Now they want to get back.
They're hella upset.
Yeah.
They're like ex-girlfriend psycho.
Yeah.
Or ex-boyfriend
they
psycho.
They miss that
be.
toxic.
Yeah, they miss that toxic relationship with the EU. You know, they like being told and
what to do.
Yeah. They like that shit,
Do you know what, though? Initially, I know it's a bit off topic, right? But during that Brexit vote, I was very much for remaining. I was like, look, it's ridiculous. This is a racial attack on Europeans. You know, it's not all bad like they say it is, right? Years later now, having looked back at it, I'm a bit older, I'm a bit wiser, Do I think Brexit was a good decision? In the long term, like for the sovereignty of the country, I think it was the right decision, right? I can't understand how there can be a court in Europe that makes the laws for us as Britain to follow. You know, when it came to sanctions from the EU, Britain had the most sanctions put against them from the EU because they refused to enable or enact certain directives, right? And by the way, just so you know, the EU law, once you make a directive, once the EU passes a directive, all member states are under an obligation to enforce that into their national law. It's not It's not let's get this directive and let's let everyone
Yeah.
know that this is what the EU are saying. Nah, the EU are saying we're telling you what to do. You now have to put it into your own law, and even if you leave the EU after, guess what? It's in your own law now, so you're stuck with it.
Can I just say something? This can sound completely immature compared to what you said, yeah? Because of Brexit,
Yeah.
I get 2 less Jaffa cakes in my box.
Did you actually count how many Jaffa
You get
cakes?
10 Jaffa cakes now. Before you used to get 12.
You actually counted them?
No, it's just there.
Are they-
innit?
are they
You just
bigger?
know. No, it's the same thing, but it's just less.
Have you measured the width?
No, man.
Have you
I'm
measured?
just saying, innit? Like, all this type of stuff, for me, I was directly impacted. Like, Jaffa cakes, 2 less in my box. Don't get me wrong, it's not life or death for anyone, yeah?
You hear that, Nigel Farage? you hear what you done to my mate? Yeah. What's the jelly content?
Nah,
Is it about the
it's
same?
all tastes the same, yeah, but I'm just saying, you know, I'm getting less for my money
Hot
right
topic, yeah. Next time we're gonna talk about some Jaffa cakes, yeah. The changes in Jaffa
now.
cakes.
There's no change in Jaffa cakes.
No, but even that, have you seen that?
What?
Again, I know it's off topic a little bit, but have you seen that? It's like this study of like inflation and how companies, what they're doing is instead of raising prices, they're giving you less.
Well, yeah, so you get half an empty bag of crisps.
Yes, exactly. You
Buy a
get more
packet
air.
of M&Ms and it's like down here.
Yeah.
And it's a sharing pack.
Shrinkflation, that's what it's called.
Fucking idiot.
Shrinkflation. So they're shrinking product size, but
Yeah.
they're maintaining the price.
That makes sense, doesn't it? It's like what I say sometimes, you know, you could really work hard for a high salary
Yeah.
to buy the luxury things.
Yeah.
Or you can live a calm life and bring the luxury things price to you.
Yeah.
You know, there's 2 ways to work it. I feel like I like time to be more available to me than entirely money, because I use the time to make money, for example. But yeah, that's how I see it, to be honest. But that's on that.
Fair. I didn't know it was going to get so deep, to be fair.
Nah,
but-
no, not that deep, but you know.
Firstly, let me start off by saying this, I love Reading. Reading
Yeah.
is somewhere that has always been close to my heart, right? I've got family there. You know, my grandparents live there. My mum's entire side of her family came from Reading. I've got a lot of love for the place. One place in Reading that I have absolute no love for is Reading University, right? And
Why?
I'll tell you why. Right? Over the years, I've seen studies come out from Reading University, right? That I mean, look, intellectually, it's no secret that you can make studies as biased as you want them to be.
Okay.
Okay, you can manipulate numbers, you can manipulate statistics, as we saw during COVID, right? To display what you want to display, right? Reading University have come out with a study, right? And listen to this, right? They've said that if you want to reduce the world's carbon footprint, right?
Yeah.
Here's what we're gonna do. Let's stop long haul flights for people, and let's make the flights shorter.
Right.
So you have to wait at airports a bit longer, and that way the amount of time or duration that a plane is in the sky and it emits CO2 is reduced, right? Now, on the
Right.
surface, Rahil, how does that sound to you?
Sounds very long, but it seems like one of them things that on theory will work, but practically and logistically it's not.
No, but it's
gonna
nice
do.
though, right? Like we're going to reduce our carbon footprint. You know what I mean?
No, I
Like,
hear that, but there's loads of other ways to do it as well. Like, you know what? Fair enough. Yeah, less long haul flights, but then again, you're taking more flights to get to destinations. Like, I don't know. I think it's a double-edged sword. You know, it could work for us. It could work against
I
us.
think what they want is like more connecting flights. They're saying instead of you having a direct, is that what it's called? It's called a connecting flight.
Yeah.
So they want you to like do a stopover in like Doha for like 2 hours, 3 hours. Then you can jump on a plane that's about half filled. So they basically manipulate your tickets.
But
so
then
that-
if it's half filled, how is that saving CO2 emissions?
because that plane's going to go up in the air anyway, right? So instead of
Yeah, but you want to pack it first, and then
No, but this is what they're saying. What they're saying is that we can manipulate tickets and flight numbers so that we can put someone who wants to travel from here to like India, for example, along the way. There's probably going to be like 4 or 5 flights that aren't fully booked. So we're going to put you on those flights, and that way they are fully booked, and you don't need to take the long haul to go all the way there. Now, on the surface, right? Great, fantastic, right? We're going to reduce our carbon footprint. This term that has been going at our throats for the last 10, 15
Can I
years.
just ask, man? So if I book time off from work to do this long ass broken down flight, I basically lose a day.
You lose a day, yeah.
Yeah, maybe even a full 24 hours.
Yeah.
And just hopping from place to place.
Yeah, but you again, that's looking at it from the consumer's perspective. Like me and you, we were on holiday recently. Obviously, it's great to have a short flight that you can go directly there to.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's always something you're going to value. But my thing, and this is why I've got an issue with Reading University, is I don't think they're being sincere in their research, because if they were, what they would have found was Elon Musk and his private jets emit more CO2. Just one person emits more CO2 than an entire factory. Entire factory in China, by the way. Now, bear in mind,
Elon Musk.
I don't care if it's Elon Musk. My thing is, why are you passing the solutions onto the... I'm not going to call them little men because we're not little men. We are men at the end of the day. But you know what I mean, innit?
Yeah.
Why are you why are you trying to make it the burden of the small man who's worked hard his whole year to save up for that holiday with his wife and kids to go on holiday? Why are you punishing him for? Why don't you say to Elon Musk...
But let me ask you something, right? Do you think Elon Musk produces more of a carbon footprint via his planes than he does by releasing electric cars and where he's saving?
Thank you for saying that. Yeah,
which do you reckon, is it justifiable? Do you reckon he's rebalancing the scales?
This is my answer to this, yeah?
Go on.
I think the point that you've just made emphasizes why we need to look at certain people, right? Elon Musk produces CO2 emissions from his jets, right? I don't know if I told you about this study or this leaked document that came out of the Honda headquarters.
What, that?
The
Elon
ratio.
Musk was at the Diddy
No. Nah, the Honda released a Honda document got leaked from their HQ, right? And they had a meeting, and in that meeting they discovered the ratio for carbon emission production when it comes to making cars, right? What they discovered was for every one electric car that they make, it produces the same amount of emissions as if they made 60 hybrid cars. And it produced that one electric car to manufacture produces the same amount of carbon emissions as 90 regular petrol Hondas.
Okay.
So what that document basically internally meant Honda were looking to move away from the EV production.
Yeah.
Now, my thing is, when it comes to the granddaddy of electric car production, that's Elon Musk, right? The lithium batteries that are in his cars, why does he talk about the amount of CO2 emissions it takes to produce that? Why doesn't Elon Musk, if we want to really improve the state of the world, why doesn't he talk about where he gets the cobalt for his batteries from? Why doesn't he talk about the mines in Africa where these poor children are digging cobalt out of the ground? But he doesn't, right? But it's my job to spend an extra 5 hours in an airport to reduce the carbon footprint of the world.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So for me, here's the people, right, that we're going to target, okay? We're going on a mass media campaign, all right? We're going to make sure they reduce their carbon footprint, yeah? Elon Musk.
Yeah, all right.
Taylor Swift. Do you know that? Taylor Swift, she's the number 2 biggest consumer of that private jet life, yeah? If you get the top 5...
You reckon she's Tinder swindling?
internationally, I reckon if you take those top 10 users of private jets, yeah, and you put sanctions on their companies and say your companies must reduce your carbon footprint by X amount by 2030, within that we will also count your personal travel, right? I guarantee you, global warming's fixed. Right?
Them 5.
I guarantee
Who are the top 5? So Elon Musk, Taylor Swift.
I don't know who it is. It's Elon Musk and Taylor Swift. I know they're in there, yeah. There's 3 other ones I'm not sure of, right? It's like, look, even things like this, yeah. America, right, will get onto China. And I've seen this, right? America will say to China, you have to reduce your carbon footprint. How much carbon you're producing is ridiculous. And it is ridiculous, yeah?
Okay.
Let's look at the reason why. Back when Al Gore was still in charge of America, or when he was higher up in America, he was the one who really pushed this eco nonsense, yeah? America exported all of their production, their manufacturing to China, yeah? Now you hear Americans say, well, we don't make anything anymore, right? We don't manufacture anything anymore. Well, that's why. It's because the whole eco footprint reduction was, the way it was done was by sending it to China.
So they didn't resolve the problem, they transferred the problem.
They transferred their problem, spot on, yeah?
Yeah.
So the irony of America or the American government to turn around to China and say your carbon footprint's too high, when it was you who caused their carbon footprint to increase. The microchips are produced by China now, right? And there's a big hoot. Like Trump came out and said this recently, where he was like, "We're going to start producing the chips again." And then Kamala Harris said, "Well, you basically gave away our economy by making microchips be produced in China and XYZ." Yeah, I don't know if you watched the debate or anything recently, but yeah, definitely, I think America needs to start manufacturing for itself again. I think Britain needs to start manufacturing and farming for itself again. And all of these things where we keep our production local that will allow us to accurately measure how much CO2 we're producing, and then we can reduce it. You know what I mean? But right now we can't, because we're just saying, oh yeah, it's all in China, it's all in China, it's all in China. Bro, listen to this, yeah. There's some trade routes, yeah. If I want to buy certain things, say I want to buy it from like France, yeah.
Yeah.
It's maybe not France, but there is a country in Europe that does this, right? Because they can't send stuff to England via boat. You know what they do? They send it to China
To ship it to us.
to ship it to us. And we're across the river. Like, come on, bro. Like, how does this make sense?
But there's just the loopholes for the trade, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's ridiculous, man. Because when the Red, when the Red Sea, do you remember that? What happened with the Red Sea when they locked it off? Yeah, they were
What was it that?
Houthi rebels.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They locked it off. When stuff was coming over from China, because of the lock off for that, things were being delayed by months.
Yeah.
Businesses got closed down because of that, and no one ever spoke about it. Do you know what I mean?
Bad, yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm definitely all for pushing towards manufacturing for ourselves now, man. It's something that we definitely need to do. And for Reading University as well, whichever idiots conducted that study. No, I'm being serious. Whatever idiots conducted that study at Reading University, yeah, you need to get your shit together and start looking at the real causes for problems and stop being so shallow with your research. Because it's not the first time. This is not the first time they've done this at Reading. Reading is a red brick university. It's respected in terms of its research internationally. So start holding yourself to a higher standard. You know what I mean? But that's my 2 cents on it, man.
Talking about respectability, how much would you respect TVP, the Thames Valley
Police?
Yeah.
Listen.
Because based off what I recently read, yeah, I don't know if I do anymore or not.
It's a job. Yeah. It's a job. Yeah, I respect it. It's not an easy job. I can tell you that for sure. It's not an easy job. You go through a lot of you deal with a lot of difficult people. Yeah, you deal with a lot of difficult situations, and you'll be blamed. You'll be held accountable for stuff that really isn't your fault. Yeah. So shout out to the police because it's not an easy job, but you could definitely conduct yourselves a little bit better. Thames Valley Police. Listen, do you know what?
So you know what? Based off what you said, conduct yourself a little bit. Right, we'll go off spin off of that.
Yeah,
right?
go on.
So I was checking online, right, and I was kind of shocked, yeah, because I thought only like weirdos do stuff like this.
Okay.
Yeah. So a police constable got dismissed for having over 1,000 photos of him and his genitals out in public.
Oh, I thought that was going in a totally different direction.
Him
just then.
And his genitals out in public, and a few of them wearing like uniform. Like that's just weird. Like you in your police uniform, and you just decide to whip it out and take a photo.
Where was he doing?
And then check this. No, check this. Yeah, it's like one of them situations like hard drives wasn't big enough, right? So there was some saved on his work computer and laptop or whatever it was, the work device.
Your hard drive wasn't big enough.
Yeah, no, one of them was like, oh yeah, I've got too many at home. I need to like find another hard drive. So he just thought, yeah, maybe I should try at work. Maybe not.
Oh, but
yeah, the fact that so how he got clocked was they did an audit, right? And then they were like, what the hell's all these balls on my screen on the network, right?
Where's all this ball set come from?
Yeah, what is like I don't know, man. Like that's just weird. He's got dismissed. I'm not gonna name and shame or whatever. Dude knows.
No, do it. No, name and shame him.
I'm not going to. But dude knows what he's done in it. Like you got balls to do that, but
literally
they're not the right way. Like that's just weird because now I'm like, you look at things like that, and you think the police force in some way, like. If you look at it from a very simplistic point of view, they're meant to be the heroes of society. They're meant to be the proactive people that keep people
like doctors,
safe.
like nurses.
Yeah, man. Like they're there to keep you safe, and they're meant to be your original first point of call or something like that. You know, like. But when you hear things like this, you know, it makes you question like if you're ever being stopped and searched, you've ever been pulled over, I don't know, for a headlight being out, whatever it is, something small, and 9 times out of 10 they let you off. But then you kind of wonder now, like. Well, who am I actually speaking to? What does qualify to be like an officer really, innit? Like not in terms of just physically or having the no criminal record or anything like that, but just the mental aspect of it as well. Like, are you mentally healthy and not just gonna start taking pictures out?
That's a very interesting. That's
you know your police uniform because, like, they as much as like people put them in the negative limelight, there's still a lot of good they do somewhere out there, right? Somewhere out there.
Somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere out there. But when they do stuff like this, you just kind of wonder, like, who's interviewing you?
Yeah.
Who's doing these interviews, man? Like,
I
is
think,
it AI?
I think, do you know what it is? Yeah. At the end of the day, we've got to separate the situations that police officers deal with from the police officers themselves. We've got to remember that in any job role, at the end of the day, there's another human being on the other side of that
I hear
that's
it.
got to deal with it. And we all come with flaws. We all come with our own issues. And don't get me wrong, this geezer's got a big issue, innit? You know what I mean? Well, maybe not so big, yeah? We're seeing the pictures, yeah? But everyone comes with their own issues and problems, right? Now, having spoken to police officers, and we're going to get, police officers on the podcast for interviews anyway, and we'll hear it from them. Often at times you find that where they are so worked in their jobs, right? They lose sight of the role itself. They lose that hero. They drop the cape. They said, you know what? I got into this thinking I was going to be the guy that changes how people view the police. I was going to be that police officer that people get along with, And trust me, I've heard this from people that have become police officers. And when they went into the academy, they said, when I pass this, I'm going to completely change how people view the police. Things like this. They get into the job and they're like, fuck this. They're like, this ain't worth it. Yeah. They're like, I went there, I had this fucking crackhead throwing urine at me. I'm like, no, I'm being deadly serious, bro. And you got to remember, the majority of calls that police deal with is not like something we'd call about. The majority of calls they deal with are, unfortunately, it's public nuisance stuff. It's there's a homeless person outside screaming at people. This thing's been stolen out the shop. Someone's gone in Tesco's and grabbed something. That's what they're dealing with on their day to day. Domestic abuse cases, things like that. That's what they're dealing with. These things take a toll on people, right?
Oh, so just because all that happens, you just start busting nudes out in public?
He was a weirdo before he got into the police, I reckon, man. If he's got like a terabyte hard drive there and geezer's like run out of space, but I think he needs to delete some, you know what I mean? Like,
delete some, just fine, go therapy, man.
How many angles could you possibly get? You know what I mean?
It is like, do what you want in your own life, within your four walls type of thing, right? But in public, man, like, that's just wild. That's mad wild.
Did they say like where in pub? So he was doing this in public.
Yeah. Like, imagine you're just walking past and you just look around. I don't know.
Well, just in his police car and that.
No, so I think a few of them. I wouldn't say like 50 or anything, but it was a few. It was a few, maybe like less than 10 or max 10 or whatever it is, where they were in police uniform, in during like office working hours type of thing.
Oh my god, man!
Like that's what's wild, isn't it? Maybe alright, off thing, like out of working hours, out of uniform, they would have probably kept it hush and said that's a bit weird. Sort it out, right? Yeah. Don't save it on the work computers.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're in uniform now, imagine that got leaked.
That
would true.
Basically did.
That basically like tarnishes a bit of their reputation, because now people like there is a percentage that like what the police do, and then there's a percentage that don't.
Yeah.
Right now, I understand that, imagine you got to wake up every morning, you go to work, and the job you do is disliked by a set percentage of people. No one's gonna like you you don't have, as a police officer, I've seen it myself with people I've grown up with, where they might have not done anything wrong, but their attitude to police is just
F the police.
Yeah.
That phrase.
Yeah, but these are the same people that something happened to their family.
That's the first.
They're the first people you call.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, look, you're either one way or another, innit? You can't be screaming F this and that to the police and then be crying to them after that you didn't help me.
I think even on that, bro, like a lot of people now, I would say probably within the last 2 years, very recently, like I think they've sort of moved away from that mentality of like, do you know what? The police is the person that I'm gonna call when I'm in trouble. Because I'll give you like a personal experience, yeah. When you remember when my van got robbed, yeah. So I mean, for the people that don't know, I'll give a very brief description of what happened. So I used to work a job where I had a work van, right? And in that work van, I would have items in the back. It wasn't a delivery job. It was more like providing samples for my customers. But those samples were heavy, and so I needed a work van, right? Now, I got out the front of the van, right, to get into the back. Luckily, I took my phone with me. I was on the phone to my work colleague at the time. As I got into the back of the van, right, I've opened it. I'm going through everything to get everything out. I just start hearing like when you got a passenger in your car, you can feel that they're moving the car. I'm thinking to myself, I'm sure, because the doors normally lock when you open the back, the front door's locked. I get out the van. I've gone round the side. I see a fucking 10-inch screwdriver like that just hanging out the door. So Geezer's obviously banged in the lock, yeah? I'm getting like heated, just like even bringing this up, yeah? As I get out the van, he's felt the van jumped, and I see him get out the front of the van with my work bag, which had my iPad, my wallet, my AirPods, my passport, yeah? It had everything in it, yeah? He runs out the van, he gets into that fucking Kia Sportage, yeah? And then he bolts it, yeah? A Kia Sportage.
Granny car, yeah.
I'll never forget the model, bro.
Okay.
Not a granny one, it's like the newer shape, sportier, 4x4 looking one, yeah?
Right.
So long story short, I called the police up. I didn't call him straight away, I must admit. I did chase the guy on, you know Pump Lane, you know that dual carriageway?
Liam Neeson and that.
Straight Liam Neeson, bro. Do you know what happened, yeah? Bro, I chased him up Pump Lane,
I
yeah?
know who you are. I will find you.
Yeah, I will find you. Yeah. So I chased him up Pump Lane dual carriageway, right? I've put the van into manual mode, into forward transit, and I'm fucking ragging it so hard that I've forgotten to even change gears. Yeah, I'm just booting it, yeah?
That VTEC.
These geezers have gone to the end of the dual carriageway. Now, obviously, you go left, you go into Southall, yeah? They've gone the wrong way around the roundabout, gone up the motorway exit the wrong way, turned around at the top, and then booted it down the motorway. I'm fuming, yeah? I'm like, bro, fair play to you. There was some sick maneuvers, yeah? So I stop. I pull over on the side of the road. I'm sweating buckets, but I'm thanking God, like I've still got my phone at least. Yeah. I called the police up. I'm like, yeah, I've just been robbed. This is what's happened. Now, as a man, you know,
violated.
yeah, thank you. That's the exact word.
I've had it.
That's the exact word. It's a violation. You feel like
violation.
someone's taken my property from me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
like, I'm not being funny. Like, I do MMA. I've done boxing. Yeah, it's my dream that when that scenario happens, I get my hands on you because I'm about to unleash everything. Yeah, everything is gonna happen to you. Yeah, I'm speaking to the police. Yeah, and the geezer's gone. Yeah, so what was in your bag? I'm like, okay, the bag alone is 300 quid. Yeah, it's a laptop bag, very nice, Italian leather, blue, banging. Shout out to my brother for getting me another one.
Yeah.
I had my iPad in there, brand new iPad. I had my passport in there. I've got my AirPods in there. I've got cash in there. I've got my wallet in there. I've got my bank cards in there. I've got
Your life.
I got everything. He goes, could you tell me what the estimated value of it is, please? I said, oh, you know.
You said that 20 bags.
You're probably, that's what I should have said that, yeah. But what I said to him, I goes, yeah, it's probably like the iPad's like a couple hundred, the bag's a couple hundred. You're probably looking at just under $1,000.
Yeah.
How is my man telling me when I'm sat there, basically traumatized? I hate to admit it, bro, but that's basically what it was, yeah? I'm sat there sweating, and Geezer said, I'll be honest with you, we probably ain't gonna send no one out.
No way. He goes,
I'm gonna send you a crime report number. He goes, you can give that to your insurance company. Obviously, I'm brown. I don't have insurance on none of this stuff. Yeah, but I just about got insurance on my car, bro. You know what I mean? So he said, yeah, look, you can give this crime report number to your insurance company, and they'll pay you out. He goes, well, we can't send a police officer out, and the case is probably going to be closed within the next 7 days. Right? I didn't get a single follow-up call from the police. I didn't get no one check in with me, and I know it might not be their job, right? But no one gave me a call to check in and say, look, you know, any chance you might have seen anyone or seen the car again or XYZ, right? 7 days later, I get an automated text message
saying your case has been closed.
Saying your case with this case reference number has been closed, right? And I say that story to say this, right? I get it. The police are pulled very thin, right?
Yeah.
I think on average for each area at any one time, they've probably got maybe 4 or 5 officers out on the road. 2 police cars at any one time for areas like London. I know that in, like, for example, in Harlesden, the max they have on road at any time is like 2 cars because they don't have any more officers, right?
No, but in Slough, man, we got very heavy police presence.
Yeah, that's true.
Like compared to be a non-London county, yeah, we have a very, very heavy police presence. Sorry, town, I should say. Think about the size of Slough, or like compare it to the size of Hounslow, right? Slough's police presence is immense. You can't turn a corner without seeing a police officer.
I think to be fair, where you are, and we're not gonna bait out where you are, but where you are, yeah, I think there's a reason why there's a police presence there.
No, but it's all over the gaff.
Everywhere.
Yeah, man.
Okay, fair
enough.
You
go Langley, there's a shit ton of police.
Yeah.
You go Sippenham, shit ton of police. You go Burnham, Britwell.
Yeah.
Even Slough Town, they're just everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, if you're out, you're saying they're stretched thin. But yeah, they're just cruising around,
Well, if you look at
blasting blue lights to take red lights.
you're not okay. So you know when I came back from Morocco,
Yeah.
you dropped me off by Metro Bank.
Yeah.
Bro. There was police officers by 3 tons. Did you see them? For all those who are local to Slough, you'll know exactly where I'm talking about. Yeah, it's the Bath Road, them 4 massive junction, the Metro Bank junction, 3 tons and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How have I seen a police officer literally turn his blue lights on? Obviously, it's 1 a.m. I'm thinking he's seen me on the side of the road. Yeah, he's gonna pull me over. He's gonna pull me over, right? He's gonna be like, "What are you doing out here?" Right? The geezer turns the blue lights on, gets across the junction, turns them off, and carries on going past me. And I thought to myself, dude, it's 1 a.m. No one's on the road.
Yeah.
You could have just done it anyway, and no one would have said anything. But you had to do it, didn't you? You had to put the blue lights on.
Yeah, well, that's one way of making it legal, isn't it?
Yeah,
if you would
true.
have just run the lights, then it's illegal. But if you had an emergency, I don't know, you might need to go to the toilet.
I think when we get a police officer on, I'm definitely going to ask them that question. And I
They
think
ain't gonna admit to it.
they will. I think they will.
Okay.
I think they will. I think they will.
He's gonna be on camera and say, "Oh yeah, I run a red light with the blue light." Why not?
But they're allowed to because of the blue lights.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you're only allowed to turn them sirens on in.
Yeah, when you got a call.
Yeah, or a call, or you've witnessed something and you need to.
Or apparently when you're late for your fucking McDonald's lunch break, then you can turn them on.
hell.
But yeah. But do you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because it actually links on to Thames Valley Police doing a survey recently about police officer satisfaction. This survey regarding Thames Valley Police, right? It was done quite recently. It was actually done in April of this year. Now, the headline says 1/5 of a force's police officers intend to resign in the near future, new figures suggest. But what we're going to do, we're going to go into the figures and we'll see exactly what they said, yeah? So overall, this survey was done on 917 officers that work for Thames Valley Police, okay? About 20% of the officers said that they would leave the service either within the next 2 years or as soon as they can. All right, and that's according to responses given to a Police Federation pay and morale report. Okay, now obviously, look, that's career jumping. They may be jumping into other police forces. We don't know. Yeah, more than half of officers also said that they were experiencing low morale. Okay, of the 917 responses, 85% of those who were surveyed had experienced feelings of stress, low mood, anxiety, and other well-being concerns within the last 12 months. Okay, so it'd be interesting to understand how Thames Valley Police are dealing with that, or if officers feel comfortable even reporting that. Could be an interesting topic. About 65% of Thames Valley Police officers said that they felt their workload was too high. And they also mentioned that the same number, 65%, felt that they did not feel valued within the service. More than 90% of those who responded felt they were not respected by the government. And 65% said they would not recommend joining the police to others. 75% of officers were dissatisfied with their salaries, despite the fact that police officers have received a 7% pay rise since last year. However, obviously the counter to that is that over the last 10 years, police have received a 16% pay cut. So the police as a whole, as an institution, has received a 16% pay cut. But the officers have received a 7% pay rise for Thames Valley.
So they're still at like a 8-9% loss.
No, so for the institution as a whole, for Thames Valley Police, they've received a cut in funding by 13%. But the officers' individual salaries have actually gone up by 7% last year. For me, that's an interesting point because if the inflation rate is 3%, and a lot of people aren't getting pay rises matching inflation. How is it that the police have managed to get a pay rise that is ahead of inflation?
Double inflation.
So maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe we need to talk to some police officers and see how they feel about it. So that based on that, the TVP, so Thames Valley Police Deputy Chief Constable Ben Snuggs, came out and said, at a local level, we have worked hard to address frontline operational workload pressures, and I'm pleased that many colleagues have seen a positive impact. So I don't know if he's actually read the results of this study. But he came a bit worse before. Yeah, do you know what I mean? That is such a political answer. But he said that he continued, or went on to say, we continue to make the case for better officer pay that takes into account several years of below inflation pay settlements, current inflation, and the unique nature of policing. So they're basically saying the reason why you've got such good pay rises is because of the difficult nature of your job. We also consider the fact that there's inflation and you work for the government. So we're taking it all into consideration and we're trying to make it as good as possible for you.
Let me ask you something, right? For me personally, if you're going to go apply to be a police officer, you kind of already established that it's going to be a high stress job. It's not like it's office job where you sit there doing administration or something. it's quite clearly a high stress job. There's a lot of moving factors involved. In terms of morale, like I get it. Like I said earlier, like imagine you wake up, you go to work, and you know that this population. Of the
I'm
area,
gonna get a crackhead chat
yeah,
with me today.
or just not even that, just generally like people don't like me just
Yeah.
because of the uniform I wear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like there's areas in Slough, for example, where a police officer will go, and you can obviously tell that every pedestrian on the road probably doesn't like him. But like that isn't take the uniform away. That generally isn't a healthy feeling.
It's not a great place.
Like
to
imagine
be.
you wake up every day, you work 5 days a week or whatever it is. Maybe you bang out some overtime 6 days a week.
12-hour shifts.
Yeah, 12-hour shifts, and you just know that maybe halfway through my day, I'm just gonna be
Abused.
Yeah, like all the time. Like, you gotta have some serious thick skin, and not everyone does.
So I was debating this with a Met officer recently, right? And obviously the Met is a different kettle of fish because it's a very condensed population in one smaller place, right? It's
Yeah.
not like Berkshire or Thames Valley where you've got it all spread out. And I said to him, I goes, look, what did you expect? Like, you got into this job knowing you're going to deal with the worst of society, which are criminals, right? That's what the worst society is people that commit crimes. Those people are not going to be people of nice character. They're not going to be people that are going to sit there and, when you meet them, they're going to say,
some tea.
oh, how are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be meeting people that are robbing baby oil out of Tesco's. You know what I mean? Like, scummy, like, what? Yeah, bro.
Yeah, fair,
shampoo or something like that, underwear and things like that. You know what I mean? And
But look, yeah, if there's crackheads stealing shampoo and underwear,
there are.
oh, shout out to them. At least they're trying to stay hygienic.
Now you say that, but what you never. So look, for all the people,
I ain't never seen no crackhead try
listen.
to steal shampoo and fucking conditioner.
in the comments of this episode, I want the guys who are watching this, or the guys and girls watching this, to let me know if they've encountered this before, because clearly Rahil hasn't. Yeah.
No, obviously not.
No. Listen.
They're out there for they just want. Oh, I got brain damage.
No. Listen, these crackheads, what they do, yeah, or we will call them drug addicts, yeah, to be politically correct. What they do is they'll go into a Tesco and they'll steal a shampoo bottle, they'll steal a free pack of underwear, pack of socks, blah blah blah. Yeah. You think that they're just doing it because they need it?
Yeah,
nah,
wash their hair.
no.
Change their clothes.
You know what they're doing? There's certain people that they know
They'll
buy it. Right now, I knew. I'm not going to give you the example of Slough because obviously we're all from Slough. I don't want to bait no one out, dry snitch on anyone. Yeah, but in Reading, I remember there was a particular individual who used to go to the Morrisons by Rose Kiln Industrial Estate, which is where I used to work. Yeah. He used to go into that Morrison's. He used to steal steaks. He used to steal fruit. He used to steal yogurt. He used to steal underwear. Anything that they sell in there, you name it, he had it, yeah? He would then do his lap of the industrial estate, go to all the garages, and he'd say, oh, I've got this pack of 3 underwear here for, it's £10 in the shop, but I'll do it for you for £5. Now, I want you to imagine, yeah? I would never take that shit. Like me,
you wash your hands.
Yeah. Me personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking that. Yeah. But let me ask you a question. Reading, specifically Whitley, yeah, where I worked, yeah, it's not the most affluent area. Right. There's a lot of working class people there. There's a lot of people that maybe on benefits or rely on the welfare state, etc. Yeah, that £5 off that pack of underwear means a lot to them. Yeah. It might not be right. I'm not saying it's right, yeah, but it's not necessary. It's part of the ecosystem, if that makes sense. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, man. I think it's a bit ridiculous because all they're gonna do is buy some more, whatever the hell they buy, sit there, spaz out, wake up the next morning.
Let me ask you a question, yeah. Let me ask you a question, right? There's I'm not gonna say who it is, yeah, but it's someone very, very, very close to me, yeah. They used to have a little hustle, yeah, where there was a certain individual around the ends who would steal push bikes, yeah, and then he would sell the push bike. This push bike might be a £400 push bike.
Okay.
$2 grand, £2.5 sometimes, yeah. I'll give me £80 for it.
Yeah.
Give me £70 for it, yeah. Then what this guy would do is he would hold on to it for maybe like a week or whatever, slap it up on Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace in an area that's far away from Slough, so that people will come in and then boom, there's no chance of you meeting the geezer that the bike got nicked from, yeah? Would you say that is the equivalent of the Morrison's underwear thing, or would you say that is a hustle in itself?
All I'm saying is theft is theft. I've had my bike stolen, and I swear to God, I cursed the hell out of that guy.
What bike was it?
It was,
I might know the guy.
I was like 16 or 17. I was like 16, 17. I was getting like tuition or something. And my mistake though, innit? I forgot to lock it. Right? I was so gassed to buy, I forgot to lock it.
Rookie.
Yeah, fair enough. And some prick come and jacked it. And I kid you not, it wasn't the fact that
Where was this?
like near Farnham Road.
I know who did it. I know the guy who did it.
Bring him here, innit?
Nah, I ain't gonna bring him here. I know the guy who did it. He is the most prolific bike thief in Slough.
You know what? Yeah, I was like, you know what? I was hoping that he was some dude who genuinely, with his whole heart, needed the bike for some emergency. Yeah, like some good was gonna come out of it, but secretly.
Oh, my wife's pregnant.
Yeah,
Oh.
secretly. Yeah, I couldn't wait to see him in it. You know, sometimes I see like a junkie with a bike that was similar to that, and I think, is it?
Is it? Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, you know what? That was like 10 years ago. It doesn't really matter.
Do you know what? Yeah, bro. I'll promise you now. Yeah, I know the guy that did it. There's one guy in Slough, by the way.
I don't want to know. That.
I'm not even gonna. I'm not gonna describe what he looks like to you. Yeah, he is the guy. When it comes to like you, if you want to cheat, if anyone wants a cheap bike,
Is he a crackhead?
he is a crackhead. Yeah,
Right.
but he's like a functional crackhead. Do you know
There's
where?
no such thing as a function.
Do you want to know where he used to work? Yeah, there's an individual that we both knew. Yeah, and I'm not gonna bait out the company name. Yeah, They were. It was a woman that we knew. Yeah, she used to drive an orange Transit, but she sold it recently. You know who? You know who I'm talking about? Yeah.
I think so.
You know who I'm talking about, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I see her in Windsor.
Okay.
Yeah. That same place where she worked, he worked there.
No way.
He was a functional crackhead, bro. He used to do their fitting, yeah, with his brother or his brother-in-law, yeah. And in the evenings, they used to teeth the bikes up, sell the bikes because they liked their fix. So they were functional crackheads. Have you ever heard of something like that?
No, man.
It's mental.
You're just a crackhead.
He
That is
is
functioning. As in breathing, living.
But the fact that he was working at that
Alive.
place. Now, he wasn't working, by the way, he wasn't working like in the office, obviously, yeah. Where the lady we knew was working. He was working downstairs as a fitter. So he's taking the thing, he's going out there and he's fitting and blah, 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 yeah. But I gotta rate the hustle, bro.
So he's basically just got a job to fulfill his addiction.
So his job would pay his bills. His regular job would pay his house and his rent and blah, blah, blah. And then his naughty stuff that he'd like to do on the side, the bikes would pay for that. But when I tell you, this guy, I don't know why we got so deep on this. This guy has been doing this for years. I am convinced he has made 5 figures out of doing this, bro.
Where's the tax man at?
I don't know how he's not dead, bro. Like, the amount of money that he's made that funds his habit and his addiction, I don't know how he's still alive, bro.
Probably drinks a lot of water.
Yeah, but shout out to him, man. He might look at this, you know what I mean? If he ends up seeing this...
I want my bloody bike back.
Shout out AD. Yeah, that's his code name, yeah? If you know, you know. Shout out AD, bro, because he's made a real hustle out of this and he's put a lot of money in a lot of people's pockets.
Douchebag.
Yeah, if you got Rahil's bike, yeah...
I want it back for free.
No. If you got Rahil's bike, I'll buy it off you for 25 quid.
Oh my God.
I'm sure I can get 50 quid for it. I'm sure I can get 50 quid for it, bro. But yeah, AD, you scumbag. Bring Rahil's bike back, bro.
That's
we want
it. That's it.